What were your clients' expectation going into that?
Between 750 and 800K.
So yeah, an extra 133K above even what they thought.
Exactly.
All right, welcome to episode 2.
Episode 2.
Good Dudes Podcast. I think we're sticking with the name.
Yeah.
It's official.
We made it through week 1.
Made it through week 1. Into the second week now of January. So things are picking back up. What's how's your week been? What's been happening with you?
Week's been busy. Had one MLS listing that we put on the market and sold within 6 days. It was absolutely crazy number of showings.
How many showings did you end up having?
I lost track after like 1:30. After 1:30,
it's higher than 1:30.
Yeah.
Were you allowing overlapping showings?
Not per the system, but there was not enough time during the week to get people in.
You dirty rat.
I was telling people to book showings after the offer date, but going and waiting until there's an opportunity.
You snake.
I mean, I had to work for my clients and get people in. And
that happened to me last night. I was doing a showing and someone came knocking on the door and I'm like, there shouldn't be any overlapping showings. And he's like, oh yeah, there is and all that. And I was like,
yeah.
These listing agents that are allowing these overlapping showings.
I noticed that when we went to a house in Oshawa, we got there and there was 2 agents going back and forth and arguing with each other about who has the right showing.
Come on.
And one agent actually called the listing agent, put it on speakerphone, and said, "You confirm who has the listing appointment." No. And it was this big scene that was quite awkward to watch.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess everyone's just trying to take safety protocols. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
You know, the new laws are calling for like disinfecting and wipes in between every showing. So
which is not happening.
I don't know how that's going to happen.
That's impossible. Yeah, I showed 3 houses last night, and each one there was people in before and right after us, and exchanging keys, and you know, trying to obviously wearing masks and sanitize and distance as best you can, but you know, just kind of showing how crazy this market still is, and it's still it's still wild out there for sure.
Yeah. Besides that, the duplex conversions are going well. Central Park is the upper unit, I would say, is 60% done, 70% done.
Nice.
Floors are in. Baseboard trim for most of the houses in. Prime done. Ceiling paint done. Countertops going in today. Bathroom tiles going in next week. Backsplash next week. Electrical for upstairs is done. Pot lights are in. So that's going well. And then we started for Duplex 2. We started the demo phase. We're trying to figure out how to manage the HVAC system. To get ceiling height requirements done, and what an off-market flip project.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
So we'll close on that Feb 17th.
Yeah, that's the one you were competing against my mom, right?
Yep, pretty much. Yeah, big conflict.
So I had a little quick story with that. If I'm obviously not buying it, but I have my mom and you looking to buy a flip, and have the wholesaler call me to be like, Cam, what's going on, man? Like, and I'm like, listen, this is multiple representation. I'm staying out of this.
Can't be involved.
I gave my thoughts on what they should buy at their the rental costs. You two battle it out, and you came out on top. Congrats, man. Congrats.
Yeah. Briefly, I was out at 490ish or 497, something like that, and then I got I was speaking to my father about it, and he's like, just go in at 510, let's do it. I was like, okay, fine. 506, my last offer.
Yeah. So and I think my mom's highest was 499, so I don't know. You never know.
But
you never know.
Whatever. Still a good deal.
It's part of it. Yeah. You got to take action and scoop it up. Good for you.
I was impressed with how many people, other wholesalers, other investors were there. Like, the street was packed with people. I wouldn't be surprised if there was over 20 people.
Yeah,
who
looking
walked
at this
through and
off-market property.
And it still blows my mind that investors didn't want to pay a bargain for that property.
Yeah. And what was the wholesaler asking for it again?
450.
450,
Yeah.
right? And there was obviously multiple offers,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's crazy. I mean, just goes to show you what kind of market we're in. If it was on MLS, it would have been, what do you think that would have sold for on MLS?
560, 570.
Yeah.
At minimum, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's the reason to buy off market, right? And good for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a busy week.
Yeah.
And what was the debate at Central Park you were telling me about with the HVAC system there?
Yeah, we're trying to figure out if we can do 2 HVAC systems in the unit, because the idea is that we ripped out the hardwood upstairs. We've put solid subfloors down. So we've reduced a lot of the noise, a lot of the foot noise, the foot traffic.
Yeah.
So now we're saying, if we've done that, what about eliminating noise traveling through ducts? So we're just trying to figure out, the cost benefit to both. If we do separate furnaces, then, we run into fire separation issues, space issues. So
where you're going to put it.
Where we're going to put it, how we're going to run the ducts.
Yeah.
We need HVAC design, additional costs that we had not budgeted for initially. But the good thing is market is increasing. So any, unexpected additional costs we have, we believe that it gets justified through market increase.
Yeah, I don't even think you need to justify with that. It's a long-term hold, right? So, I mean, you're trying to avoid tenant concerns with noise, tenant complaints. I think, I don't know if you could put a dollar amount on that, but I hear what you're saying. The market's going up. You're not, there's no reason to not splurge a bit on a few extra features that make your lives easier and definitely add value to the property, right? I think anyone, if in the future when you do sell it, having 2 furnaces will blow people away. They'll be like, holy crap, that's definitely not something you see. So, I'd be interested to see what you guys come up with, if you end up pulling the trigger on that or...
The only thing that really doesn't work in our favor is that the gas meter is not separated. So
you got to bring in a separate gas meter. If Enbridge would do that, wouldn't they?
I'm sure they would.
Mm-hmm.
Again, additional costs. I don't really know what the cost factor there is. We'll have to look into that. But
yeah. Cool. That's an exciting week,
what's going on with you?
Yeah, so I mean, my week's been pretty busy. I was teaching all week.
Because you're teaching for Humber.
Yeah. So I had the commercial simulation I was doing this week with the new sales reps coming in. So that was Monday to Thursday, 9 to 5 kind of thing, 8 to 5 really. But yeah, that's always fun, working with, the new recruits coming on and getting registered. And it's a cool new program now that, Humber's taken it over and the simulation's something new. So I think it's fun. You're getting them to do a lot of the, day-to-day activities and role-playing and explaining clauses. So yeah, mostly busy with that. But I know last week on the podcast I was talking about kind of the 2 properties I was looking at. I firmed up on both of them on Monday.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so both projects purchased Monday. One I'm going to flip. That's the 4-bedroom house in Ajax that we were mentioning. That one's kind of interesting too. We're still working on how when we're going to close on that. We're needing kind of a unique situation. The seller is... there's someone on title, and I don't know the whole situation because it's the seller, but that there's someone on title that is being removed via court order. So we're waiting on the lawyer to get the judge to approve of that before we can close. So yeah, it's a little bit tricky. I spoke to the lawyer and essentially said, he assured me that it's a done deal, and I said, look, I'm good to close any time. Just need enough notifications. So. It kind of leaves the closing up in the air, which is tricky for planning purposes. But either way, we have a firm contract in place that says, look, we'll extend the closing as long as we need to.
So that's happening because of a separation or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even ask a lot of questions, but it looks like some type of separation. And
right. Okay.
So I don't know, but it's strange because obviously with both, normally if there's 2 people on title, they both have to sign off on selling the home. So. And I don't want to buy a home if, it's not free and clear, right? So, for me, I'm like, let's, make sure everyone's good and, from the legality standpoint that everything is clear and above board, and there's no issues. So yeah, that's so that one's up in the air. But then the Oshawa bungalow I purchased firmed up Monday again. That's going to close at the end of the month. I was there last night. It's a beauty. I'm excited about it. 58-foot frontage.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
58-foot frontage.
In Oshawa?
Yeah, McLaughlin area, right off Stevenson. So, just trying to figure out what to do and make a lot of those tough calls about, whether to add a third bedroom, whether to, what we're doing in the basement as far as layout, all those kind of things we're starting to work on. And of course, getting permits in that right now is going to delay things. So, a lot of kind of question marks still in the air about that one. Just working through it, through what we're going to do. So
I think what's really important to really call out is that, we're doing all this and we're doing it in the Durham region. We're doing it in the East End. We're still considered part of the GTA.
Yeah.
We're still within, the GO train line that travels to the Union Station. So we're not extremely out of the core GTA. And we're still finding deals. Still getting it under contract. So, a lot of people are saying that, at least a lot of my clients that I speak to, people are saying, it's difficult to find deals. We're looking at other markets, London, Windsor, Barrie, whatever it may be. But deals do exist, and you just got to pull the trigger. So, on my deal, on a wholesale deal, I paid $56K over asking price.
Yeah.
So, you look at that and I guess a lot of people do get scared of making, paying over asking on a private sale, but the numbers work. Yeah,
absolutely. And I love that point. It's, we're on one hand, we're talking about how crazy the market is, but on the other hand, we're talking about the deals that we've picked up this week. So they're out there, you got to find them, and they're not always easy. I was, working on both of my deals for months, literally, talking, and my original purchase price ended up, was 500, and then kind of at the last minute they say, can you go up to 505? And it was kind of just an instant yes, no problem kind of thing. Like, if that's going to seal the deal, I'm not going to worry about an extra 5K. Similar to you kind of bidding. So I think a lot of times people, I don't know, they overanalyze and they, let something like that, crush a deal or stop a deal from happening. And you can overanalyze, and I'm sure you were nervous and questioning and exhilarant when on that night. It's never like no sweat. I always think when you hear people talking about it, maybe we're talking about it like, oh, that was an easy purchase. It's never an easy purchase. You always have a million thoughts running through your mind, and questions about the market, about the quality of the house, everything, right? I guess that's the fun of it, though, too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Awesome. Good update. Should we talk about briefly about the market, how the market's doing?
Yeah.
You want to touch on it a bit?
Yeah, I mean, we've touched on it a little bit here, talking about it. I think it's still nuts. I mean, the inventory is still extremely low here. What I'm seeing of chatter on social media networks is people are, again, scared we're back to the 2016 levels of, the bubble bursting and things like that. And I mean, I know every morning we're looking at properties going, holy smokes, I can't believe, this property sold for that price. What have you seen this week that has surprised you?
So in terms of the market, I'd say my listing that I had surprised me. So this was in Whitby. So we had a detached 2-story, 2-door garage, 4-bedroom, finished basement. House was built in 2002. It's renovated, but nothing like today's renovations, right? We're not talking white kitchen, white countertops, none of that stuff.
Yeah.
But clean house, well maintained. Listed for $749. We sold for $933 firm. So I don't. That's $160 over asking price, I think. So that's in Whitby, and then in Oshawa.
And what were your clients' expectation going into that?
Between $750 and $800K.
So an extra $133K above even what they thought.
Exactly.
And I know we went to look at that listing, and we were trying to determine what price to put it
Yeah.
at. Because everyone is listing low, holding back offers. That's always the strategy, and you're trying to find a number that isn't too low, but is low enough to get the traction and the showings. And obviously, you got the showings as you mentioned.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you feel like you listed at a good price?
Based on the street comparables. Yeah. So
and I guess it worked, right? You got the 933, which
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I thought I did. For I think anyone who lives in Whitby, who shops in Whitby, would say, yeah, you listed it correctly. But I had 36 offers, and I had 2 local agents. The rest were from the West End.
Oh yeah. So the person who ended up getting it, they're a West End agent.
Yeah, West End agents. Clients are from London.
London.
They sold in London. There was huge
That's
price
real
appreciation.
West.
Yeah, there's huge price appreciation there. So again, they're the typical step up buyer, right? They've made $250K on their house. Time to move within the GTA and buy something in the GTA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's super interesting. I think obviously it's crazy out there. 130 showings.
Yeah.
And what was your total number of offers you got?
36.
36.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And a firm offer. That's nuts.
Yeah.
That must have been a busy night for you.
Yeah, started at 6 p.m. Didn't end till...
How many phone calls do you think you got?
Oh man, throughout the whole week, I don't think there was a day where I scrolled on my phone. I would open my phone and go to the recent calls, and to find my wife's name, I had to scroll 3-4 times to be able to find her and give her a call. So I don't know. I won't be surprised if I had...
You're not calling them enough.
Yeah. I would say over 50 calls a day probably.
Yeah.
And all the questions were, are you taking bully offers? No.
Yeah.
It was all that.
Yeah.
So
I know. There's a house. I have a client who's looking for a higher end home in Pickering, and they're pretty. I wouldn't say picky, but they know what they want. And this house came up on the market, holding back offers or asking for a 72-hour irrevocability. So different strategy than kind of listing low, holding back offers. Having that offer night. What do you think of that strategy as opposed to holding back offers? I find it interesting. I kind of my theory is kind of I don't quite know what the play is or why that's the strategy. And this house already has 3 offers on it after being on the market for 24 hours. And we're booked to go Sunday. Today's Friday. So I'm kind of saying to my clients, I think we'll be able to go see it, but I don't really know when the offer presentation is now because they haven't really said anything, right? So I don't know. I've seen this strategy as well. I'm curious your thoughts on it.
So is the house priced to sell, or is it underpriced?
I think it's underpriced slightly. I don't think it's intentionally low. We're in the 1.15 range, so you're higher, but everything else, there's other houses for 1.2 that I think this house is better. Right. So I do think it's going to go higher. There's 3 offers on it, so obviously it's priced low and people are interested in it. But why not just have an offer night then? I don't know.
So it's listed for 1.15. They already have 3 offers, but those 3 offers are irrevocable for 72 hours.
Which means essentially that the offer is valid for 72 hours, which means we should be able to get in to see it.
Right.
But
so anyone who books a showing, they know that there's 3 offers. They need to be serious. And once they get there, once they see it, they know they have 1 or 2 days to make a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if it's because of the price point. I don't know, perhaps they don't want to mess around at that price point, because when I look at my listing at being listed at $749, anything over $800K is a great offer.
Yeah.
Right. So, getting $50K, $60K over ask price isn't hard. But I wonder if at that price range, over $1 million, over 1.1, the room to mess around is little.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be that their purchase price was high and they absolutely have to get X amount. That's why they don't want to go low. And some people just don't want to absolutely risk anything.
Yeah, I'm thinking too, your point about the showings, not having as many showings, or maybe having just only serious showings go in. Because I know even my clients are serious buyers. They're not messing around. But Yeah, it's an interesting market out there. I feel like understanding the different strategies that are happening, what games people are playing, if they're taking bully offers or not. How many bully offer attempts did you have on your Whippy listing?
You know what? I had 2 bully offers that actually were sent to me, and me without even speaking to the agent. So the agents didn't even call me; they just sent it to me.
Wow.
But then
What were those offers? I'm curious.
So one was so we listed on Thursday. I got a bully offer on Friday for $875 firm.
Ooh.
And then I had second offer came in on Saturday or Sunday, and it was like $820. Yeah.
Yeah, but still at 875. Did you present? Did you talk to your clients
And
about it?
No, I didn't.
Because they signed direction, didn't they?
Yeah, they signed a direction. But that 875 was actually the highest offer at 935.
Oh.
But we didn't end up taking their offer because
Okay, cool.
I invested or I asked a lot of questions about their clients, and I deemed it to be a little risky. So we took $2,000 less, but on a way more secure client, in my opinion.
Which is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not much when when your client's expectation was 800,000.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they're already celebrating
winning,
and bought a bottle of champagne. And
yeah.
Very cool.
Cool. You want to touch base on that Oshawa duplex quickly that sold recently?
Yeah, we're both a little surprised to see that one. South Oshawa, Simcoe Street, selling for 800,000.
Listed for?
Was it $599?
$599. Sold for $800K.
It doesn't matter about the list. I'm more shocked at the sold price of $800K. It was nothing special in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, this is it. It's just.
And on what street?
Simcoe Street South.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you know Oshawa, or we're kind of chuckling because we know you're in South Oshawa, kind of in a central area. I mean, it's just not. It's not an A+ location, right? I would call it a C location. To have now, a comp for investors for $800K there. Yep. Again, we'll see if it closes. I don't know how.
Is that Lakeview or Central?
Lakeview, yeah.
It's Lakeview?
Yeah. Central Oshawa, but the category technically, Lakeview.
Yeah.
Anything south of Bloor, yeah.
Yeah, I called, I did a video on Oshawa, the Oshawa market.
That's right.
And I called Lakeview the community that I would gamble or take a bet on for growth.
Yeah.
So, and I did that video in the summer.
Yeah.
And when I did that, I was calling the after repair value or the fair market value of duplexes to be 650 to 700K.
Yeah.
So it's 100K. So now
you're right. You look like a genius now.
Whoever has a property there, they have a very good comparable to anyone in Lakeview and in Central have a really good comparable.
I remember when GM closed down. Here? Was that 2019?
2018, 2019, I can't remember. Yeah.
When people were just like
freaking out,
writing off Oshawa. Yeah. This place is don't invest here. It's gonna crash. Yeah. Everything was relying on GM.
Yeah.
I still remember I sold a bungalow. What did we pay? It was like $385. Like legal 2 unit now probably worth $800K. Just nuts, like a couple years ago, right? So again, the investor did a renovation there and legalized it. Did put about $100K into it.
Yeah. But
still, he has a cash flowing legal 2 unit that.
And it's and GM is in the Lakeview neighborhood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it has a direct correlation to.
Yeah. And they've since announced they're coming back. They've since announced they're going to have an autonomous car track there. Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of in the past of people looking bad. Now everyone's calling about Oshawa and wanting to invest in Oshawa and Durham regions. So,
how many clients do you have on the go looking to buy?
It's crazy. Like it's a text or call a day of people, wanting to inquire about Oshawa, wanting to, try to find properties. And a lot of times the conversation goes pretty similar, right? Well, here's what the way the numbers look. Here's what's happening. Yeah. And it's that is kind of crazy. And it's like, So, I mean, again, going to look at a duplex on Simcoe Street South, I'm never going to recommend to a client to pay $800K. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just can't justify that. So
I've always said that I think Oshawa is going to be the new Scarborough in terms of prices,
You have, yeah.
right? So if that
I didn't think we'd be there
theory
that
is
quick.
true, if that theory is true, then we still have 130K to go in Oshawa.
So you're buy.
Bye. But I mean, look, at this point, I'm not comfortable at 800K because, well, I ran the numbers. Then you will cash flow,
Yeah.
but you're aiming for the stars in terms of rental income.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're now minimum.
Well, that's the thing. It's not the 800K that bothered me. It was the units themselves, right?
Mhm.
Like if you're paying 800K for a nice, really nice turnkey, product, I agree. I still think it's great asset,
Mhm.
a great property to hold. So for me, it was more about like that's the one you bought for 800K. There are, I think, other opportunities out there. So, yeah, it's just, again, to each their own, right? We're saying this, and the people, I'd rather see that than people sitting on the sidelines, right? And having that analysis by paralysis. So, keep in mind we're being critical here, and it's fun to be critical. It's fun to try to, not poke holes, but discuss the different options. And I mean, like anything, you don't know until 5-10 years down the road when you say, dang, should have bought more, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Cool.
Any other properties that you want to discuss, or should we move on?
That's good.
Yeah, that's a good little update. I know we were wanting to get into kind of the debate as to since Saman and I have both bought properties this week, we've both been inquiring and looking into, me specifically, about joint venturing, or keeping the property for yourselves and then simply borrowing more money, paying an interest rate to acquire that property, right? So essentially, joint venturing is when I'll use my Oshawa bungalow as the example. I bought it for $505. I think it's a phenomenal deal. I think I bought it under market value. I think there's a ton of potential upside on it, as we're talking about it with a 100K reno. I think it's going to be worth $758 after, right? So that's $150,000 I'm bringing to the table, right off the bat, plus the knowledge and experience to be able to do the reno, handle the tenants, and with a joint venture, I would be looking at someone qualifying for the mortgage and bringing the capital. So some people say, or the side of it is great, I would have no money into the deal. It's a great win for me. It's a great way to grow, but I'm giving up 50% of this really good deal, and those really good deals are hard to come by. What are your thoughts on it? I know you've done it. You're doing a couple joint ventures right now, so that kind of leads us to believe on which side.
Yeah. I think it really depends on, I think, your personal situation, what your goals are, what your objectives are, your time horizon. For me, I'm, in the phase of growth, and, being self-employed, it's difficult to get, financing on properties.
Yeah.
So, I've used joint venture partnerships as a way to scale my business. My joint venture partners are not random strangers, are people that, one, I've had a relationship with for, 2-3 years now, was constantly at our workshops, chat over text, Instagram, whatever.
Yeah.
Another joint venture partner is a friend of mine from school, so I've known this person for, 10 years or so. Comes to my house when we have friend gatherings. So my partnerships are strategic partnerships, they're warm leads.
Yeah.
So there's a huge trust factor there.
Which I think is key. I think is the partner that you're with. It really is a partnership. So it is such a good point that having good partners, definitely helps tilt the scale to that side of things.
Yeah. And then my partners are numbers focused. So their primary objective is achieving numbers, is not achieving aesthetic look, is not to achieve, some sort of pristine when it comes to...
So you're on the same page.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of decisions are made based on the budget.
Mhm.
right? So, we haven't had a lot of difficulties with decision making in terms of where's the kitchen going
Yeah.
or what kind of appliances are we buying. It's if we're within the budget, then yeah, let's go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, one of the partnerships we're discussing the possibility of, let's say, the furnace. One may be on board, one may not be on board. At the end of the day, it comes down to dollar amount. So to go back to the joint venture discussion, for me, my objective is to grow and to hold. So my difficulty is getting financing for it, and my partners are able to bring that to the table.
Yeah.
So for me, it's okay, right? And in terms of how we've set up our partnership, one of the partnerships I have zero money in, so I'm not going to be able to have access to that equity to a certain point in time.
Yeah, which is where I struggle with a lot
Yeah.
of times too, right? Acquiring the deal, and then typically in a joint venture agreement, the person who brings the capital gets their capital returned to them first.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're splitting 50-50
Yeah.
profits, right?
Yeah.
So like if things do happen and you have to sell early, you essentially are putting in a lot of time and work for no money, right? So
Yeah, so I mean, that's why I think finding the deal is very important, right? So on that type of partnership, I'm looking for a home run deal where we can be as close to a perfect burr as possible.
Yeah.
Because they need to pull as much money out within the first 6 months of the refinance.
yeah,
So, this deal needs to be a home run. Purchase price needs to be good. Fair market value needs to be super high. It needs to be in an A location. We need to get good cash flow.
yeah.
And we are.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so having the deal that really does work. If
Yeah.
it's I guess you could say that about anything though, right?
Yeah.
Any investor is going to have trouble if they're trying to force a deal or force numbers. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's interesting. And then what about the idea of just having a mortgage qualifier?
Yeah.
Like, say you have the capital, but it's the mortgage because for me, I have the capital, but I agree, to tie up a mortgage. It is probably one of the biggest challenges. I know people that I've talked to, even with this deal, that's also been their biggest challenge is who ties up the mortgage because, that's a big part of it. The capital is one aspect of it too. But
Yeah. So you're saying that, you have a deal.
like in the future, would you, if you found a deal, would you bring on, say give up 15, 20, 25% of a deal for a mortgage qualifier? Or do you think it's just better to do 50-50?
And then I fund the down payment and the renovation money.
Yeah, I mean the money that's left in the deal, you're getting it back regardless, right? First, I mean whoever puts in the money in the joint venture agreement.
Yeah, I think it's a different way to structure a deal. I think it goes back to what you're trying to achieve. If you're trying to grow, and this is what you have to do, then yes.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, I think the first objective is to buy, right?
Yeah.
Which is what happened on, like, I'll be honest, my flip project, it closes in 30 days or so. I don't have financing arranged.
You crazy dog, you.
Well,
I love it.
The first step was to secure the deal.
Yeah.
Right? I know I can get financing one way or another.
Yep.
I may have to pay high interest rate, but I can get it.
Yep.
But again, you need to get the deal first, right? So
yeah, once you get the deal, everything else comes into
options
place.
open up.
And if you have to joint venture, if you have to finance, if you have to go forward, no, I think everyone agrees with that. It's now, for me, it's like when you have the deal, then kind of the next steps or thinking about it. But you're right. I really believe it depends on each individual situation.
Yeah.
For me, I can get a mortgage on this too myself. It's the question of, do I want to?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it's interesting. Well, I'll definitely keep everyone posted on how that plays out, and I'd love to hear anyone else's thoughts in the comments and with any responses as to how you're doing it. If you think joint ventures is the way to go, or financing on your own and kind of paying higher interest rates, taking more risk, more reward, so to speak. I don't think there's a right answer. I think it's we know a lot of successful investors that have done it both ways, and are still doing well regardless. So just an interesting discussion.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good stuff. Anything else you want to add to that? Are we good to wrap up episode 2 here? We made it. We're cruising here. So looking forward to a couple more. I think we're going to start bringing on some guests as well, just depending on availability and trying to bring some deeper discussion into what's happening in this real estate world and in Ontario and specifically kind of Durham region. But yeah, that's great. We'll
maybe we'll find some local investors who are doing it in the East End, because I think there's quite a bit of content that's coming out for investors in the west end of Ontario. Yeah, maybe we can find some here and bring them on board. Yeah,
love it.
Yeah,
love it. Let's do it.
Awesome.
Cool.